Israel is such a geschmacka place. We are on yes, number Ches 75. Yeah. Number Ches Rabbi Yerushalmi Shavuos, which is, that's I have my little mark. Yep. You're too far behind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 lines down. Rabbi Yerushalmi Shavuos. It's actually a new sugya. Rabbi Yochanan said, Rabbi Yerushalmi, any from Nichsei Yisraelim Ktanim. Actually, we had back in Ksuvas a long time ago. Any from Nichsei Yisraelim Ktanim, one does not collect from the property owned by minor orphans, unless there's a loan outstanding against them, such as from a guy, where they're being consumed by interest. So therefore, in order to avoid any further charging of interest, we collect the loan, pay it off, and therefore they'll be exempt from paying any interest. Okay? That we also collect from them if they have to pay off the ksuva of a woman. Okay, and this is also the advantage of the Yisraelim, as the Bnei Moshe points out here, because once they get, as long as the woman is not collecting ksuva, they have to pay her mizonos. They have to give her food, right, at the moment. So therefore, in order to avoid having to pay food, it's their advantage to give the ksuva as soon as possible to get her out of the house, so they no longer have to feed her. Excuse me, anymore. Seven name is Opus. Was until then, they have to feed her. Rabbi Tanya said, who's the one who's concerned with mizonos? Rabbi Shimon, it's Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon said, it says here been a keva, but in the Ksuvas it says b'magvel davar toli, that when does a woman stop receiving mizonos? When she comes to collect her ksuva. So when she comes to collect her ksuva, then she loses her mizonos, and therefore b'magva literally means that time of collection, and therefore we could allow her to collect her ksuva. Says Marmaikadu, now why do Rabbanan not hold that way? The rabbis say that no, we don't pay off the debts for other properties on Mikdaim, rather we let the woman continue to eat mizonos. Why is that? Why we continue to let her eat mizonos, despite the fact that we can get out of the mizonos by paying her for ksuva at the earliest possible time. So says the more interesting answer. The more says, again, this is also where we have in ksuvas. Why mishum china? This is because of chen. What does it mean because of chen? It means because one second. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. This is quite Rabbanan, but it's coming to explain quite Rabbanan that why we pay the woman her ksuva, not why we give her mizono. The opposite. Everybody holds. I made a mistake. Everybody holds we give the woman her ksuva as soon as she demands it, even from the property of Mikdanim. Rabbi Shimon held it's in order to avoid having to pay mizonos. But the question is quite to Rabbanan. It seems that Rabbanan, even though they agree with the halacha that what the ksuva, she doesn't no longer gets fed, but they seem not to hold that that's enough of a reason for her to be collecting ksuva from the Yisrael Mikdanim. So according to Rabbanan, what's the reason why a woman does collect her ksuva from the Yisrael Mikdanim? We know that's the halacha. Why is the halacha? It's not based on cessation of feeding, so what's it based upon? So it says, it's in order to provide her with a second dowry. So she gets a ksuva, she'll have a second dowry, right? She'll be able to get remarried. So it's actually not for the benefit of the assignment. It's one of these rare instances where we don't do something for the benefit of the orphans, but rather do something for the benefit actually of the woman herself. In order to provide her with a dowry, in order that she find favor in the eyes of some subsequent chassan, so we give her ksuva in order for her to have that. Okay? So it says, if the father, of the assignment stole, So we collect from the property even of minor Yisraelim. And the father, the Yisraelim damage, so we collect from the property of the Yisraelim Ktanim, even though they are minors. Now, however, Rabbi Yossi, well, not yet, however. Rabbi Yossi is we also learned to Tarteil these two things. L'gzeila mehocha. For theft, learn from here. There's real estate. Chayav l'shalim have to pay for the theft of the father. L'nezakin mehocha, and damages learned that from here. Ain't for mirsi seitai el miziburis. It says don't collect from the property of the minor orphans, only from ziburis, and of course ziburis is the poorest grade of property. What does the nizakin normally get? No, nizakin normally gets idis. They normally get the best. Somebody who's damaged, but normally gets the best. Kim Aziz, and this is the way to read that price over there. Any in Babakama, any for Nilsi Soimiktanim, Nizakin El Ziburis. In other words, even though normally for nizakin you collect from idis, nevertheless for Yisraelim you collect specifically ziburis. Okay? So it says Marvatani, turn the page, and we learn Amad Haben, it should be Amad Haben Tachas Ha'av. Hanizakin Shlem Be'idis. It says that the son takes the place of the father. In terms of damages, we reckon from idis. The same way as if the father was paid. A creditor, the payment again the same as if the father was paying the middle grade. The ksuva sisha and the ksuva woman is ziburis, again the same way as if it's from a father. So the poorest grade. So how come you said here that from Yisrael we only take ziburis? So it says more on Rabbi Yossi Beri Punti Potter. You can explain that now here. There's a gear, so the next four words really are very difficult. They don't really make any sense. So we're just going to use the gears from Ksuvis. And the same parallel, the identical parallel, so in Ksuvis says a very logical and very apropos answer. Can be Yosem Gadol, can be Yosem Katan. Depends whether we're talking about an adult orphan or a minor orphan. From a minor orphan, you only collect ziburis. From an adult orphan, you can collect idis, whatever the halacha was which devolves upon the father. Okay, says Mara Marir, you say here you say that you don't take a shvua on the property of a on the claim, of a cheresh yet by you say the any froy by any Yisrael. That you take you take a shvur to cotton and to hekdesh. Hekdesh was where you had some prior lien and you're taking from hekdesh, which asserted a subsequent lien. So in a, so how come, right? There is no shvur by cotton or by hekdesh. So right here, B'nifrei minirse katan. So that's the answer. So it says more b'nifrei minirse katan. When we take a shvua against the katan, when we're collecting from a katan's property. In other words, when a katan makes a claim, then the person against whom he makes a claim does not have to respond with a shvua. That's to say you don't take a shvua on the claim of a katan. But if you yourself want to claim the property of a katan, because you're a creditor against katan, then you have to take a shvua. Okay? A katan cannot, as a creditor, generate an obligation to take a shvua on a debtor. But a creditor who wants to take collection from a katan, he has to take a shvua, which is actually a very simple logical dichotomy. Okay? Says Mare Vaitel v'nifroin me'odam shlo v'fanav. Says Mare.
So let's say the katan's father was a creditor.
Yeah.
And the creditor wants to collect. So what's he do? He gets the
have to take a shvuah that his father didn't tell him that it was collected or something like that. No, you have to wait till you become an adult. That's the way it becomes an adult. You can't take shvuah. You can't take shvuah. Okay? But what we're saying before is the cotton also can't claim a shvuah. In other words, he can't go out on the open in court and say, well, you owe me a shvuah because of X, Y, Z reason. You're a shomer or when you make sense, he doesn't have the right to make those claims. Okay? Says the Gemara further. It's spoken in Mishnah about collecting property for a person when he's not around and taking a shvuah to that effect. So it says more anyway, how can you collect from somebody if he's not around? So it says the Gemara, so about a case where there's interest around, in other words, the debtor is being charged interest, and if it's in his own best interest to pay interest, to pay off the loan and not pay any more interest. So it says in Gemara, but that infers that Basin helps collect this interest which is due till now. She's an Avera. So it says our Basin Govin Rivers as Basin help collect interest. It says more about a case where the guarantor was a goy. Well, somehow or another, they didn't understand exactly how the case works, but let's see if I can construct it here. The lender's a goy, and this guy is the guarantor of a loan from a goy, and therefore it's important for him to pay, and somehow the goy always go after guarantors, so it's important to pay off the debt as soon as possible, because otherwise the guy who's the main creditor is going to demand more and more interest. Something to that effect. I don't know exactly how it works. But anyway, we have a case where the interest is being taken and is legitimately being taken, and if we want to avoid paying that interest. Says Mar Liksa, Amar Liksa, which is seems to be a Greek name, although the famous says Babylonian name is probably mistaken about that. Liksa, Amar Kureimana. Liksa said in front of Raymond, and this we also had back in Ksulis. Anan adifton tavus sagin. No, we do much better than you. Than you. We do much better than you. How so? Adam Mishalchin, we send diatim. I can't pronounce that word. Diatin matin, which basically means a subpoena. Okay? In Asa Hatavos, if the guy comes, what? It's a gimel? Oh, sorry, couldn't read it. That makes you guys understand it much better. Oh, okay. So tiatikmatin in Asa. If the debtor comes, tavus, it's good. Being low, and if not, we seize his property and give his property over to the creditor. Says Moramalei, so he said, okay, and Jews also do that. We announce about the property about to be collected for 30 days. Inasa tavus, if he comes fine, eat low, if not, we take away his property. We usurp them and take possession of them. Amarle, so says the Liksa said back to, I understand. Why 30 days? If he's right here, so then it should be 30 days right away. If he's far away, so why is 30 days sufficient? What if it's in the far off land? How is he ever going to get back in time just because you gave him an extra 30 days? Amarle said, you're right, it's not really 30 days. We sent 3 letters. Chada go shloshim yomin, one within the first 30 days. V'chada go shloshim yomin, and one within the second 30 days. V'chada go shloshim yomin, and one after during the third 30 days. So it's really the 90 days altogether. So if he comes during that time, what the wus is good. Below, and if not, machlatina nichsoy, we take away his property from him. Amar Echina said. This is about a case where when he was still here before he fled, the Ray rendered a judgment against him. Avlim lo mabedin, but if he didn't actually go to judgment, lo machlatina, we do not immediately decide to give the property over to the other fellow. And here it says v'lo machlatina, we don't make an announcement either, and that's where Korban Eidah learns out Ksuvas. But actually, the Girs itself in Ksuvas is lo machlatina ela machrazinan. We do not make an immediate decision to give it over. Rather, we announce that the intention is to give over. And meaning, it seems, although I'm not sure if this is correct, but it says the Bavli says here, Bavli but not here, Bavli Baba Kama says that we make an announcement if he's not around until 12 months, because he's possibly far away. So we don't make it because until 12 months, only machlid at the end of the 12 months. Until 12 months elapsed, it still belongs to the debtor. It only goes over to the creditor after 12 months are over. So that would be a case where he's really not around and you give 12 months. Okay? And that would mean that we don't machlid, we don't give over the property to the creditor. Rather, we're machlid to continuously make the announcements for the next 12 months. Says the Gemara. So they found a statement. This statement is really not so nogea to our. It's not nogea at all to our suya, but there's all quoted from Ksuvas. Ashtaim found a statement. Chan Rabbi Shimon both they both said the same thing, and they both said the same thing about something I forgot. One second. About people who need women who only have to take a shiur when they can finish collecting, that they didn't abuse the privilege, now when they begin to collect. That's what it's about over here, or in this machlokas. They both said the same thing. They only make a shiur at the end, basof, and not b'tchila. So whatever activity they're about to engage, we believe in the beginning. We just need a reckoning from them at the end. So it says, once you say halacha is like Rav Chanan, then halacha is also like Rav Shimon, because they're both the same. They said the same thing. Rav said, Meis halove. Well, it's out of place because really it's to the machlokas and ksuvas. So when you take the shvuos about collection. It really shouldn't be. That's what the Pei Moshe really says. It's just schlepped in because it appears in Ksuvas, so they tacked it in over here. Because in Ksuvas, that's where you have this machloksin. So it says, Morava Mar Mesa Loiva, Malva Nishbal Yerushalmi. This actually goes back to something you asked before. When the Loiva dies, if the borrower dies, the Malva, the creditor, the debtor dies. Then the creditor takes the shvuah to his heirs. Filu Mesa Malva, and even if the Mekred himself dies, Yorshe Malva, the heirs of the Malva, Nishbain Lova, they take an oath to the Lova, right? And the heirs of the creditor take an oath to the debtor. However, he makes Lova Tchilo Achachach makes a Malva, but they're both dead, both the debtor and the creditor. Then by Nischayev Malva Livnei Loy B'Shvuah. Then already it's the Malva who's required to himself make the shvuah to the children of his debtor. Ve'ein adam morish shavuoso ubanot. A person cannot bequeath an obligation to take a shvuah ready to devolve upon him to his children. So it says amazing query, which there is no answer to here. Shama Rabbi Yochanan B'Amar Rabbi Yochanan heard this halacha paskin. He said, "Yochal avachati." So what? These guys, the debtor or the debtor's heirs, are going to just sit and eat and be happy because the creditor can't make the shvuah against him. Creditor's kids can't make the shvuah against him. In other words, it's unfair. It's not just because there's obviously an obligation, and the obligation will never be fulfilled. Because the creditor can't make a proper shvuah because his father was the primary creditor, already died. But it's not fair. So the Gemara doesn't really answer. The Gemara just leaves its unfairness intact. Okay? That's no good?
So we're talking about adult children, like credit, not...
Yeah, adult children, but they're all Yisraelim, right. Right, adult children. So it says the Gemara, Rabbi Chia Barashi, so actually the last line in the Pnei Moshe says that the Rabbi Yochanan said, so let the children of the Malva take a note that they didn't hear anything from their father, that it was paid back or not. So that they could take some sort of oath. So let them take some sort of oath. Now, be it not the primary oath about the actual theft or whatever it was, but let them take a secondary oath. So one never answers that. Says Marachia Barashi B'Shem Rav. Rashi we said name Rav. Top of Lamed Esmav. This too is from Ksuvas, or Baba Kama actually. Bamitzia. It says your star, but really is a symphon. And the word symphon means a receipt. That's what it says over there in Bamitzia. A star or a symphon. Hayoytzi b'talasidei amalve. B'ksav yad. If you find among the creditor's documents, you find a document attesting that he will receive payment on this document. Let's say he has a loan outstanding against Ruvain for $10,000. And he finds a separate document saying that he received payment from Ruvain for $10,000. But he didn't tell his kids about that, and he kept the old document intact. So what do I say about that? What do you think? What would you pass in that case? That's what you would say. What would you say?
I was going to say that.
Oh, come on. Yeah. It's a Gemara Ksubas, but as the Gemara says here, the Gemara Ksubas says, like, when you're Shtai, you'd say, Shtai, you'd say, sure, again, it should be simple. Receipt, which comes out from underneath the Malva's hand. Piksav Yodo in his handwriting. Plus, it's no good. I say he was just playing around with his documents. In other words, he was practicing how to write a receipt. We don't actually believe the receipt.
You know, it says the exact amount, $10,000.
Yes, because who should have the receipt? Who should have the receipt?
Well, the other guy.
The other guy, the debtor should have the receipt. What is the creditor doing with the receipt? Right? So debtor should have receipt. The debtor paid. He gets the receipt, right? When the supermarket, who gets the receipt? You get the receipt, the buyer, right? So that's why we said we don't believe that it actually was paid up. Now, it says more, if you find the receipt written in a different handwriting, it's okay. Because then I say that the receipt is real. If the creditor wrote it, so then I say it's not for real, unless he's delivered it. If somebody else wrote it, I say it's for real. Okay, that's, you found it in another person's handwriting.
But it's still in the creditor's
That's right,
possession,
that's true.
so that
But I would say about the creditor, he's writing just for the fun of it, but you wouldn't have one from the third party. It's too iffy.
So the question is, what's filling in his possession?
So third party wrote it, gave each of them copies, or he made a mistake when he gave the receipt. Something to that effect. That's what you have to say. So it says, Rabbi Avinu B'Shem Shavuos said, the truth is maybe I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong. It's probably the third party is holding on to it. It's not where the creditor is holding on to a document by a third party, where the third party himself is holding on to a document which either he read or was given for the safekeeping.
Now, what about the first case? It wasn't a third party holding on to it?
No, it was he himself.
It was he himself.
In the second case, I'm reneging now. In the second case, he wrote it. The Mava wrote it, but a third party is holding on to it. That's what it is.
So what is it?
Is that what you said before?
No, I disagree with that.
Oh.
All right.
Okay, so third party holding on to the receipt. It's good enough. It's as if the borrower was holding on to the
So
receipt.
regardless of who wrote it, even if it's the Mava that wrote it, it's him.
No, Mava really is better. If the Mava wrote it's better.
Then you know that it belongs.
Yeah, but it's better only if it's in...
The third party.
Third party
possession. Yeah, no.
Right. Okay. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Avinu Sheshbul said, "Look, I'm possible. No, it's always supposed to be to me day malve, iksav yad loive." That makes no sense, right? Should be the other way around. Should be, but I don't think in Bar Mitzvah I changed it either. It should have to come out of the hands of the malve, iksav yad loive, but that makes no sense. All right. Do you have the phone number though? So we can call. Yerushalmi Shavuos is there?
Yeah. I've called them once before.
They're very difficult to deal with. Right, they're Amaratim. Or Amaratzot.
This guy's not worse. He's a nice guy.
No, it's for sale. We're looking for sale, not for borrowing. We're looking to buy or to steal. So we're willing to steal from JTS. We're not willing to steal from YU. Right? We have our ethical standards.
It's not going to be used anyway.
JTS library is very much used by Frum Jews. They don't use it. Conservative Jews don't use it, but Frum Jews use it. It's a very it's superior. Yeah. Significantly superior. Yeah. No, he talk to change gears of pneumotion But the Chasim Sefer brings it down. It's a mistake. Not a Chasim Sefer, the Chasim Sefer, which you, by the way, have. I mean, it's so over there, Taka says it's a mistake. I don't know why I didn't change it back there. I'm not sure how I learned it back there. But the Chasim Sefer is down from a Shach, and the Chasim Sefer wants to keep the gear says it's in front of us, but it is a Shach to change it to... what? You're looking at Shavuos, aren't you?
Yeah.
But Mitzvah, that Bav Amrav. Yeah. You got Bav Mitzvah, that Bav Amrav there too. Did I kid you? See the second line of Chazim Sefer. Ein Shachos mit Zimin Samachay Nuscha Muva Reiter Eitzim Fukash El Eitzim Taus Yad Malve Ashakos of Sham Shuto Sofrim. Okay, so it should be the other way around, I guess. Problem, I'm sure I didn't fix it because Lieberman didn't fix it. What that for Yerushalmi Shavuos? why he didn't change it. I mean, I just said, well, obviously must be the reason, because the Lieberman didn't change it. I mean, the Escorial. Okay, so let's read this new way. Makes all the sense in the world. Maikadun. Now, there's something missing, which is in Bamitzir over there, a whole paragraph. It should say Vatani Shalo Pikton, and this is really why it's put down here. Vatani Shalo Pikton, but what about that? What you learned? That they have to take a shvuah. Our father did not command us anything. He didn't say anything to us. The star is a parua. And we didn't find any document among his documents that said that this document is paid up. It sounds like if you do find a document among his documents that he paid up, then we have to believe that document, which is a kash, because he just said that it's got to be b'ksavi at a malva b'dei loive, but not an ads malva at all. So where's the case where we assume it's stock paid up already? So you know where? Everybody can read by diaitike, by matna shchimira. A tzava, a person doesn't play around. He doesn't write receipts for play against the tzava. So therefore, if there's something, a tzava, which he's holding on to, which he wrote, and he cancels it, so that's for real. That cancellation is not taken to be a joke. Okay? Says the Mishnah further. These are people who have to take oaths even if nobody comes to claim against them. I should fame partners, Varisim sharecroppers, Apotropian guardians, Vaisha no says no sentence of woman who's left to handle the affairs of the house, and a person who's ben bias and he's in charge of the household. Armalo, so he said, if he said, Mata to'eh to'aneni, what are you demanding of me? In other words, if he says, what's your specific claim? And the guy says, I don't have a specific claim. Why don't you take an oath for me? Chayav has to take an oath. Because you have the right to demand of all these people oaths to make sure that they kept their job with integrity. If, however, the division has already occurred and they've already taken their portion, so then, you can't make them take an oath anymore. It's got to be b'shas that you're dissolving the partnership immediately, not subsequently. However, what if years later even, they're rolled into a situation, another oath he can make them take. So Gavlov is called, you roll against them any possible oath you can make them take. That's Britzel Kilushul. Once you find an opening, you drive truckloads through it. Says the Gemara, Vashvis, Mishameta says Shvuah. Big Chiddush, Shemitah cancels Shavuos. So we'll come down to our number base. Rabbi Yosef said, There's also about where a guy is doing business on behalf of the Baal Boss without making a reckoning. That's where you take a Shavuot. But if you take it to doing a reckoning, in that case, since it's making a reckoning, so therefore the reckoning is in lieu of a Shavuot, you can't make him take a Shavuot. Says the Gemara Vayin Ben Bayis. This Ben Bayis mentioned Mishnah Odu Benosim Benosim Shlo B'Cheshbon. Zosda where the Ben Bayis is not making a Cheshbon. Okay, even though it's Ben Bayis, you would think that he's it's partial actually. 1 second. No, the Bnei Moshe says you might think of Ben Bayis since he's not a stranger, so therefore he makes a Cheshbon. And maybe I'm going to say about a Ben Bayis that makes a Cheshbon, so let's take a Shvuah. That's what it tells us that the type of Ben Bayis about our Mishnah is not the type which keeps a Cheshbon, and that's why he has to take a Shvuah instead. Rabbi Zira called out Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Zira holds up Rabbi Yossi that there's this dichotomy. Charmanash also made an comment Rabbi Zira. A certain individual went to court in front of Rabbi Zira, Chivo Shvuah, and Rabbi Zira made him take a Shvuah. I'll train $2 on $2. Amarlei, so the debtor said, a person who had been prosecuted, the defendant. They said, Lav trade dinar, and I have loch. It's not only $2 I owe you, or trefi loch. I'll give it to you. Instead of taking a shvuah, I'll give you the $2. They said, no, milas palon or palon. Besides this case, I have numerous other cases against you I want to make the swear about. Reb Zera said, or havle called the tava, either give him everything he's demanding you, even the peripheral cases, or ishtabole called him a galgal, or take a shvuah's gilgal, and anything which is rolling upon you, even if they have nothing to do with the issue at hand. So this Rabbi Zera holds like Rabbi Yossi, and in terms of Gilgal Shvuah, the truth is I didn't make this clear. This, let's not use euphemisms. I made a mistake. This is Rabbi Yossi. I thought that I forgot. Moshe says it's not going to say Rabbi Zera holds like our Rabbi Yossi, which simply says there's a difference between if you're doing it with a cheshbon or without a cheshbon. He holds like the other Rabbi Yossi, the Gilgal Shvuah means you can tack on as many Shvuahs as you want. That's what it means when it says like that the Rabbi Zera holds like Rabbi Yossi, you can tack on Shvuahs through Gilgal on anything and everything you want, even the kitchen sink. Okay? As long as there's some issue which has to be resolved via Shvuah. You can't impose a Shvuah Shav or anything like that. An issue which can be resolved with a Shvuah, so whatever he makes to take a shvuah, you have to take a shvuah. That's what kama megalgin love. How far can you drop it? It's even. Can you go with it even to a drop of a hat? Rabbi Yochanan said, "Akadesh yomelo avdi hata." You can even go so far as to make the guy swear you are not my slave. No, it's a monetary claim. Right. But even an outrageous one, even a patently absurd one, that you're swear that you're not my Eved. Right? So the Yerushalmi asks, Hagatz b'chashaya, I understand. Let's imagine that the guy was a Kohen. The defendant. So he can't be an Eved Kanani, right? There's a defendant in the case. Because Eved Kanani wouldn't be considered to be a Kohen, right? So therefore he can't be a Kohen. So can the guy make a shvuah that he's not an Eved if we know the guy is already a Kohen in Duchen? So says more yes. But it says more Be'eved, it should be with a base, not a vav. Be'eved Ivri. He claims you're taking oath, you're not my Eved Ivri, and a Kohen can become an Eved Ivri, right? Says more Eved Ivri Bisman Hazeh. Is there any Eved Ivri Bisman Hazeh? And of course there's no answer to that question. Because there is no Eved Ivri Bisman Hazeh, so you can't get to be an Eved Ivri Bisman Hazeh. But obviously they mean it's, Kasha Maisa. Says more further, period, new issue. Amrei Shori answer, Ishmael Yizah says, it should be Shmira, not Shavra. Shmira lo batla. If I, since I say Allah, it's brought down by the Rambam. If I have a case where I want to make you take an oath as a shomer. And Erev Rosh Hashanah this year passes. Does it cancel my monetary claim against you and I can no longer take a shvuah or not? It says Shmir Lo Bakla. No, of course it doesn't. Whereas even though I could have made you take a shvuah on Erev Rosh Hashanah, I can even make you take a shvuah after Rosh Hashanah. Why is it Shemitah cancel it? So Shemitah doesn't cancel the Chiyuv shvuah. Okay, it doesn't cancel. What? Right. What? Right. So the Gemara now is distinguishing between different types of shvuos. Okay, that's what we're going to distinguish. So here it should say like the Ritba says Shmira lo batla. Shvuah Shisharm is not batla. Doesn't matter lo keman army. If we would say that, what would it say? It would say Shmira, take out the lam out of the like Ritba. Shmira batla. What are you going to say? Shmira is canceled by Shemitah. Right, that's not the type of shul which you cancel. Everybody said, what kind of shul will be canceled by Shemitah? Well, the mitzvahs, right? So like that's related to law, but not shul related to a shmira, pikada. Shavuos hiatus or something like that. Shavuos says not sure it comes into money, but none of those weren't to be canceled. Now, what would have been a happy? Isn't that Pasha? Doesn't want to know. It's not Pasha or Baal. Right? Wouldn't have been Xer Shava Baal. It says by Shemitah Shamot Kobal Mashe Yado Asher Hashem Bereu Masas Muma. Cancel any person who has a loan outstanding against his friend. And here it says by Shavuos Shoyim it says V'nigash Baal Ba'is Elohim Xer Shava Baal. So I might have thought that just like Shemitah cancels other the debt obligations, Shemitah cancels Shavuos and Shomim as well. That's what it would have thought. Okay? So says the Gemara there, Ma Baal Shnem Alahal Mashmit, just like the Baal over there is called Shemitah, Avkad Mashmit. Says the Gemara, so Taka, why not? It's like good, that's Svarit. Yerushalmi, actually, it's not a Svarit. Yerushalmi trumps Svarit. So why don't I Taka make the Yerushalmi? So it says the Gemara, very fundamental answer. Dvarim she'ein mashei yado shvius b'shem toso. Things where I can collect, right? Mashei yado means I have something outstanding against you. No, in the hand. In the hand means cash, right? There it's Mishamet Shamto, so it's Mishamet the obligation. Mishamet the Shavuos is Mishamet the Shavuos as well. Shemashiyado, in case where there is no outstanding obligation, would collect, ancient Shadaso, lo so lo Shavuos. So Shavuos does not cancel, not it nor it Shavuos.
The answer doesn't really make any sense.
Why?
Because
so it's interesting with Chaim. Wait, before you say it. It's interesting with Chaim Brisker. Chaim Brisker in the Sefer says that he speaks about the Rambam and the Shemitah can't prevent the individual from collecting. Lo yigos, right? Lo yigos Yisrael ve'ezochiv ki karosh mitol Hashem. He may not go and take a bite out of his friend, the debtor, because it's Shemitah. So that's on the Gavra, the individual. So he says, but how does Shemitah cancel debt? Can cancel the chefza, but there's no chefza to cancel necessarily. The having was to cancel, comes out that there is, because we're talking about Shavuos which are on the loans or a monetary claim. But even if it wasn't, I don't know if I'm quoting the Reb Chaim exactly, I'm paraphrasing, and I might be wrong, but even if it wasn't Lamaiseh, the Shavuot itself is a form of Nigisa. It's a form of enforcing the payment of the loan. And you're not allowed to enforce the payment of a loan. So just like now to do an enforcing, well, you ghost. There's an inherent issur, I said, for the loan, but that would only work according to Maskona Gemara. But according to Havim Gemara, there's no such thing as any type of enforcement of anything which can lead to a monetary reward. So therefore, lo yigos to prevent me from making the guy take a shvur. Now you still have difficulty you're going to ask?
Yeah, there's nothing.
Oh, sorry.
Your happening, as you pointed out, is the Xera Shava trumps any Svara. Your answer is our Svara trumps the Xera Shava.
Yeah, but, that's your, okay, fine. That's a nice question. But because the Xera Shava, we can't separate the word Baal from the Masha Yirko Baal, Asher Pereu Masas Ve'uma. I forget the exact version, but it's a Baal Mashe Yado. But you can only make a Xer Baal is a fragment of a phrase, the Yerushalmi is saying. The full phrase is Baal Mashe Yado, something that has an outstanding obligation. Outstanding obligation is not defined as a pikadon or something of that sort, but rather as cash or something actually owed. So that's what it's saying. That prevents them making Xer Shava, because Baal is connected to Mashiach, which means it comes afterwards. The truth is, I don't know if that actually is true, but I'm making that up, so it might all be total sheker. But I think if it says, it does. If you take it on the line, the third page, it says, called Baal Mashiach. So I know we don't like Tiktuk is for Paratim, but I shouldn't say that here. But Tiktuk is what? These sacred precincts, I cannot say that. But the concept of Baal is a smichut, right? Baal well, it's connected to something. So therefore you can't enforce the word Baal, make it Shavuos without putting the Masha Yodo next to it. That answers your question, right?
Yeah. But separately, there's something there's Yerushalmi versus stems from Kabbalah. And somehow our answer doesn't.
Oh yeah, okay, right. But that's a Shas systemic problem. It's endemic to Gan Shas, that problem, right? It's not just here. Because even though we say Shkir Shavuos and Niskabel, but we make them up, we slug them up all the time. Okay. Says more. Kol Shishvis B'Sham Toso, B'Sham Metish Voso, Kol Shishvis B'Sham Toso, and B'Sham Metish Voso. Again, you need to match the Yodo underlying the conclusion. Is the Mashiach underlying is linked to the Shvuah on top of it, right? So therefore, you don't say Lo Yikos in everything, but only in case where there's an underlying outstanding obligation which Shemitah has to cancel. What did you want to say before?
No, I was going to ask something about the Sorah.
Sorry, right. Okay? Sorry. How next do halacha? Okay? Actually, a very old halacha. Halacha Arba Shemim. But see all over again. Therefore, Shemim. Shomer Chinam, a Shomer for Arba Shomer. Therefore, Shomer Chinam, Shoel, the free. Arba Shomer Chinam, the guy who watches for free. Shoel, the borrower. There's the Socher, the paid watchman, the Secher, and the renter. Shomer Chinam Nishbachol, Shomer Chinam takes an oath that he wasn't Poshea, that he wasn't negligent, and everything gets off the hook. But Shoel Misham Skolikan, he doesn't take an oath on practically anything, although he does take an oath ultimately on Mesa Machum Sloch, but dies because of the work. Umashayim Skoli pays everything. No, you see, borrower and a renter. Nishbayim ala shemer. Bashvile take an oath that they weren't Poshea. There's the brokenness and captivity. Ala misa, val misa or death. But they paid for loss or for theft. Rabbi Yochanan said, that's true, but here comes the Chiddush. You can't become a shomer unless you made a kinyan on it. The shomer doesn't just have an object in his possession, in his domain, it's got to make a kinyan. Similarly, Rabbi Yaakov Bar Achab B'Shem Rabbi Lila said, Avli and Gezela ein chayov el der kinyan. Theft. If I just come and I, move this phone, that's how I'm not chayav in theft. What makes me chayav in theft? 4F2. Pick it up. That's you're talking about the next case. Couldn't come to water. Rishus Hayom, Rishus Rabbi, but I can pick it up the same way. Okay, so it says Rabbi Yisrael, Rabbi Yisrael, said Masisa Amakain. Our Mishnah says it says a Makabel Son of Mechaber B'Chulei. It's the Mishnah elsewhere, and it says that if somebody receives a field from his friend, somebody can become a shomer. It can because the way that the conventional person runs proportion of its way, it means that if Makabel King does everything, you can even become a shomer on a field. Okay, so it's Son of Mechaber. But most of the Farshim actually change the gears here, and they say the gears really should be the Masisa Amar Kain Mishnah says like this: Hikbiyah. If a person picked up an object which is given safekeeping, the other Arabi said he took from it a revius of wine. Mishav and then it broke. Mishayim Mitzvah pays everything. Why? Because he was makbiyah. In order to do a kinyan kineva, he has to pick the object up. Otherwise, he's not takakanav. Okay, so that's why there are laws said. But in other words, if I just in the course of picking it up, I break it, then I'm a ganav, right? But if I just tip it over and it breaks, then I might not be a ganav because I never made a proper kinyan on it. Okay, I might be something else, but I'm not a ganav. Okay, says the Gemara, so to buy Gneva, you're not chayav their kinyan. Before I talk about Gezela, not talking about Gneva, I think they're more basically the same thing. No, Gezela is public, Gneva is private, but I think in terms of these parameters, we're trying to say it's the same. Right? See some account. Peter Bryce like this one Dr. Spell alluded to a moment ago. You were dragging somebody else's animal, and you were going out of his yard, and it died in the owner's domain. Part of your example, why? Because you never actually made a kinyan on it. Because when would the kinyan be take effect? Kinyan Mashiach? As it goes out. Right. You picked it up, took it out of the owner's domain, and it died, then you're liable. Now, even if you pick it up, even if it was Rishus or Rabim, if it was in the owner's Rishus, so Commission Yotzim Kol Rishus Abaylim, and it's considered to have left the Baylim's jurisdiction regardless. Now, also, if you pulled it out and it went out, actually that's a Kol Rishus Abaylim, then of course it comes when it comes out, but it's only because yours when it goes completely out of the Rishus of the original owner. Okay? Says Rabbi said, I'm going to listen to Shar Torah, so I'm not 100% sure he's correct about the way he lives it, but it's cute. Rabbi said, but Menes Bevuso, if the animal is standing in the Shomer's trough, by the Shomer's trough, he doesn't necessarily become a Shomer on it. There's no Ma'aseh. Even if it's already in the trough of the Shomer, it's not a Ma'aseh. What?
The animal wanted.
Or it was brought there, but now without having made the guy a shomer. So it can't become a shomer ever, right? Boomer wanted to say, no, if it's standing and the guy's able, and they reach an agreement, I feel even if it didn't do Mashiach, it's still under the jurisdiction and the shmira of the person whose yard it's standing. Where do you need Mashiach in order to affect a kinyan, in order to affect the shmira? When it was down with Shus Rabin, but now we're standing in your backyard. Rabbi Bumbar said, if it's standing in your yard, you would even out of the Ma'aseh kinyan, it's yours. There's a shmira, like Beis Shammai. The Beis Shammai says Yilka b'chas v'yeser. Should lose the more or the less. Now that's not what's interested here now. Us, Moshe brings down what does interest here, is that it says at the end of that Mishnah, it says that Beis Shammai says, even if you thought to be Sholech Yabit because you are a Nifkad, you're a safekeeper, and you thought to do something against your Ajrim safekeeper, you said in front of Adam, I have a taiva to be Sholech Yad in this because that's enough to make you liable. Okay? So it sounds like even without a Ma'aseh Shia, without a kinyan, just the intent to be liable makes you chayv. So that's where Boom Barchia would seem. Says you don't need to do a kinyan on the animal in order to become a shomer if it's standing already in your trough. Similar to that. I don't know if that's necessarily the case over here, but yeah, okay, it could be. So, but it wouldn't require them to say Mechshava Kamaisa all over the Torah. But you're right, it is principle Mechshava Kamaisa. So, what are we talking about? If the animal say which is a rabbi and you thought to steal it and it died while you're having that thought, so now the translator throws in the clear words, if you already pulled it, everybody agree you're chayev, right? But even Basil. And Imachul Lo Mashal Shusarabi did do Bashira, did I call him Besham holds it sponsor. Elokena what it said about Bomedes Mevuso, it's about when it's standing in your by your trough. Right? So that's Gemara. Kidamarei Bumarchia Beshamai. That's case it says just enough to think. That's like Beshamai, not like Basil. Says the Gemara. Rabbi Boom will tell you, Tabon over there, where do you need Mashiach? Because Shalomi Das Bailim. Where you're making the kinyan on your own without the Bailim, so in other words, coming in the dead of night, you're a thief. So then, how do you actually acquire the Gneva? By doing true Mashiach. There, even Beis Shammai agrees to Basil. Where the Beis Shammai say you don't need to have Ma'aseh Machshov is enough. So he says, this case he's talking about over here, where it's in your trough already, and the owner told you, look, Yaakov, the animal's already in your trough, just become a shomer now. So in that case, you don't need to do a Ma'aseh Kinyan. In essence, your chutzah works a kinyan for you. So you need a ma'isa kinyan where you're stealing without permission. But you're not stealing without permission. Rather, you're becoming a shomer. So then you don't need to do Mashiach. If it's not in your backyard, that's sufficient. Okay, Ksiv, it says. Oh, you don't even need a kinyan, maybe you're saying.
Yeah.
Just the acquiescence.
Yeah.
What cements the contract? You can't cement the contract without a kinyan of some sort. Even Kodim Yodo you need.
There's something about this. You're a person.
It could be right. I'm just not so sure. I'm not used to thinking that way. I'm used to thinking that even an agreement of any sort requires some elementary rights of kinyan in order to make it take effect. Our cases by shutfim which are not. You're correct about that. But it's not really shutful. It's just really shmira. But maybe you're right. Maybe you don't need anything. Says the Gemara, it says, Kite Israel kesef akilim lishmor. You give him stuff to safeguard. Lishmor below the cross. You give him stuff to rip. He's exempt. Even if it gets damaged some other way, you told me you can rip my shirt, and then the shirt got water damage. So he's potter, right? Because he's not a shremer. Hi, you told him you have to do a shmir in any other way except ripping my shirt. Tu bistam shugana. You're an idiot, right? You're a fool. You're insane. So therefore, we don't take that into account anymore. But to name one carte blanche to do damage, she takes the whole thing. Give a finger, it takes a hand. Lishmor v'lo actually, you give it to him to safeguard and not to throw away. Lishmor v'lo yitei matoni, you give it to him to preserve and not to give as a gift. Meaning, if you give a guy something as a gift, he's not considered to be a violent Sherman anymore. Rabbi said, that's only if he was given and told, give it as a gift to anybody you want, which makes it quasi-hefker. But if I give it to the safekeeper and say, we'll give it to so-and-so, since the Shmira he has to watch it until the time that so-and-so gets it, so therefore it's a valid form of Shmira. Finally, says more, everybody has difficulty with this. Tani learned for good based on ish v'lomi losh gago. So it's got to be stolen from the house of the individual, the shomer, not from the top of his roof. Why? Because if he was allowed to put it on the top of his roof, it means that the object was obviously not so precious to the original owner. And therefore, even if it's stolen on his watch, he's exempt. Okay? That's why he gave permission, obviously, to put it on the roof. And then more further says, the only time that's true is if it's Yevamos Gag. Remember the Gag in Yevamos? The Gag would fall off, right? So then, that's the case, it's not Meshumar, so therefore the guy's part if anything happens to a Shmira. Have a Begag Mavutzar, but if it's a fortified is a little translation, a fortified roof, has a fence around it, then Gebayis looks like the house and the Chiyuv Shmira all devolve. Okay, we'll stop here for today and pick up here to Shem